Before we get started with the show, I just wanted to remind you that if you need help with your letter of intent, go to residencyhelp.com to look at the information there, and then let me know that you'd want to work with me one-on-one at tonythepharmacist@gmail.com. That's tonythepharmacist@gmail.com. All right, let's get started with the show. Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast, a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. ASHP just announced a game changer that ASHP, and we kind of knew this would happen, but ASHP MidYear is going to be virtual. And what in the world does that mean for the showcase? Because the showcase is traditionally 3 hours of madness, a break, 3 hours of madness, a little bit of sleep, and then 3 hours of madness the next day. So what they actually did last year was they did have a virtual event, and they had a virtual residency showcase. And it was on December 18th, 2019. It was from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I don't think they did this thinking, oh my gosh, well, let's just pilot it and then we'll get the kinks out before fall. But what there is an instructional video. And the instructional video does not talk specifically about ASHP and working in there, but how to, kind of best practices for the chat. And so what I want to do is I want to go over those things that you should probably know in terms of what to get ready, what to have ready as you do it. So there's a part where you complete your event registration, and I'm not sure if this was already going to be populated for you, but there's actually a headline which describes your role. And it may be something like P4 pharmacy student, student pharmacist, whatever it is. You're going to choose a profile picture image, and of course you want that to be professional. The city and state that you're from. It looks like it allows you to upload a resume. All right, then you've got your city, your state or province if you're, I guess, in Canada. And then you've got that resume. So you can put a resume in there, and I would wonder if that's probably supposed to be CV. It accepts PDF, Doc, and DocX, so you want it to probably be as updated as possible. This is the big thing. It's asking for a LinkedIn profile URL, and many of your LinkedIns are either non-existent or you have like 4 friends. So you're going on to this interview, or not interview, but you're going to this showcase telling you're a people person, but you have 4 connections. So now is certainly the time to start getting linked into other people. And an easy way to do it is that just link into the other students in your class. I can probably do an episode later on the entirety of this, but the one big thing you need to know is as soon as someone who is not you looks at your LinkedIn, all of the connections or the closest connections that they have and the closest connections you have that kind of go together in that Venn diagram are going to pop up. So if they really are interested in learning more about you, they can just ask the people in your LinkedIn connections. Are you willing to relocate? I'm wondering if these questions are going to get changed. Obviously, if you're a resident, and you're going to school in California and you're talking to North Carolina, yes, you're willing to relocate. But I wonder if these are going to be custom and that the event is going to have certain questions. It has highest education level. And this may be asking if you are a, PharmD that just graduated. Again, this seems very generic. And then what type of positions are you looking for? So this would be probably PGY1. And then if you do have specialty, maybe mention it. But be sure that they have it. So don't go, oh, I'm looking for a PGY1 with a PGY2 in oncology. And then to find out, oh, wait a minute, they don't even have oncology. We're a bad fit. So immediately they see, what's this guy doing talking to me? And then your mobile number if something happens apparently, or they want to contact you. Let's see what's next. Okay, yeah, and that's it. So that's the registration part of it. Okay. So now we get to the lobby of this chat, and it's saying, okay, well, are you available? Are they available? But the thing is that I'm wondering what this is going to be like when that lobby has hundreds of chats to go in, and then numbers of people that are waiting to chat. What is really cool and what data you really want to see is where are the places that are not getting people? Where are the opportunities? You see, wow, there's only one person waiting to chat over here. I wonder why that is. That seems like it would be a good residency. That seems kind of weird. And then, you're going to have hundreds of people possibly waiting for, the big names, the Carolinas, the Mayos, Cleveland Clinics, Iowas, all those, big programs. But the thing is, are they going to have many people there? Are you going to be able to pick, well, I want to talk to the community pharmacy residency director, or I want to talk to the actual residency director, or I want to talk to a PGY2, or I want to talk to a PGY1, where in face-to-face, it was just, hey, they're right over here, let me get them, or let's meet. Here, you may just be the luck of the draw. You just may get somebody, and then you're told, okay, we'll go back into the line, and then you can wait for the PGY2 person. Now, I wonder if this is set up in such a way that as you're waiting, you can kind of see, okay, you got 400 people in line at the Cleveland Clinic, 600 at the Mayo, 300 at Colorado, whatever it is, and you can kind of put the very top ones that you want, that are going to be at enormous weights first, and then just start exploring and seeing what's going on. The other thing that was much different, and I wonder if that's going to be the case here, is that was a 6-hour thing. What kind of time frames are they going to give you to get into these chats, and what do you really want to get out of them? Yeah, you want to get your questions answered. And yes, it's the residency showcase. They want to show off themselves. They want to talk to people. But on the other hand, traditionally, it's always been about kind of getting dressed up, kind of getting a feel for things, and that feel is going to be very, very different. There's a section on managing your chats, which may or may not be an ordered list, because what I'm looking at is something alphabetical. And with the number of places that most people want to talk to, 30 to 40 sometimes, this would be really clumsy because you can only see 6 to 8 on the page. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. But let's take a look at the next part of this. Okay, so now you're in the chat, and we see connectivity. It's very good. And so what we want to make sure is that you are on a landline. You do not want to wait an hour for a chat and then find that, oh my gosh, I got disconnected. You can't get to the front of the line or something like that. So here you are, and it says, you've got a certain amount of time left. They put 10 minutes on the example. I guarantee it is not going to be 10 minutes to talk to these guys. I would bet it's probably like 2. Maybe 1.5. I don't know. Each one might be able to decide. But the amount of time left, maybe they can add time. I'm not sure how exactly that works. But this is the thing. For those of you that don't have good English writing skills, this is a freaking disaster. Because you have to be articulate, spell things correctly in a chat. And you don't want to use chat speak. You want to actually use regular speech and be very articulate with your questions. So what I'm wondering is, are you going to be able to copy and paste? So you can, and again, I'm not downing people that English is not their first language. English was not my first language. My father's an immigrant. But I'm just telling you that it becomes really apparent really quickly that something that would not be an issue is that your language skills, which might be excellent verbally, but that you are now writing English and you are having to communicate in such a way that is recorded. Every single thing they say and you say is recorded in the history. Excuse me. So when they go back to review these, and they may or may not, but they can go back and review these chats and say, oh my gosh, look at this guy. Or look at this girl, what's going on with them? They say, I've got great communication skills, but then they couldn't even have a simple chat with me. Now, I know this generation is more comfortable with chat, but you're never judged on your English or your abilities. And in this case, you absolutely are. There's this other piece that's kind of neat, kind of petrifying, is that in this video, they have a final thought. So if you're running out of time, you forgot to mention something, you can write a single final message to them. And this can be a disaster, and it can be pretty decent. It's optional, but you do want to say some kind of thank you. Thank you for speaking with me, and then be very detailed about who you were, because there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people in these. And then how would you rate your chat? And it says it's only visible to you. Always put 5 stars. You never know what's going to happen with the software. And then add notes for your own record keeping. Again, this should always be positive, never negative. You never know when you might accidentally put the notes for your record keeping in the final thought. So then you can go back to chat again, or you can move on. So I'm just telling you right now, you actually probably want to be with a native English speaker when you chat if your written English is bad or not up to par, because I just am really, really concerned that you've got this duress of the chat, you've got the recording of every single word, you've got transcripts on both sides, that it's really, really going to be a struggle for some people who are just not used to writing to each other. They're used to communicating via chat speak, or they maybe even communicate in a different language. And then to be sure that you have to do it in English, that would be something that is really, really tough. So I just wanted to update you on this. I'm going to come out with some maybe best practices for these kind of things with the chat and so forth. But ASHP MidYear's virtual, and the showcase is going to be completely different. Hey, thanks again for listening to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast. I do encourage you to go to residencyhelp.com, get on the mailing list. I'll send you out an email every Friday during residency season, but then afterwards, I'll still have a number of episodes on helping you get through residency itself. And then if you're somebody that's looking at residency in the future, I'll also have content for that as well. If you have a question, I'm pretty good about getting back to you. And if I don't have an answer, I will know someone that does. So thanks again for listening to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please do rate and review. It really matters in terms of our ability to reach more people. Thanks again.